Well, current restriction settings have been extended for another month in New South Wales. Kenny Heatley has the latest from New South Wales Health, where we've just had an update. Kenny, talk us through the reasons for extending this and exactly what is in place right now.
Hi, Tom. Well, even though we've got cases, hospital admissions and ICU rates relatively steady in New South Wales, they are concerned that cases are going to be rising again once school returns. But as the Premier said today, this is all about confidence. Keeping these restrictions in place is about making parents feel safer to return their kids to school. Let's hear a little bit more about what the Premier had to say about the extension of restrictions another month to February 28.
This is a cautious approach, a safe and measured approach as we move through this next phase, and also ensures that we continue to instil confidence, particularly in our parents, and sending kids back to school. And as mobility increases, as Dr. Chant has said, we will expect cases to rise. So this is a measured approach, a proportionate approach to the situation that we are in here in New South Wales.
So it must be clear these are not new restrictions. These are just the current restrictions that we're seeing have been extended by another month, including indoor mask wearing, the 1 person per 2 square metre rule in hospitality venues, compulsory QR code check-ins at retail and hospitality, and also singing and dancing banned in venues as well. But I asked the Premier about QR code check-ins and about their effectiveness, considering that they've mostly given away with contact tracing, although they would still like that option in certain high-risk settings, and the effectiveness of that, considering we're still checking in. Well, the Premier admits that QR code check-ins, they decided to keep them around because it makes people feel better.
People feel confident checking in, and our job as government is to instil confidence.
In other words, they're basically pointless. We kind of knew that, given, you're not a close contact no matter what happens when you go to a supermarket. So yes, it does beg the question, how long will they stay? Kenny, what about returning children to school? We know there's been a big focus on making sure they can, but will it be mandatory to send children to school in New South Wales?
Well, we know that some parents and guardians have been anxious about sending their kids to school, particularly if relatives have some underlying health conditions as well. But we had some idea about whether it is mandatory, because it usually is. Well, we got today from the Premier and from other officials that were attending the press conference that yes, it will be mandatory unless the child has an exemption. So you will need to send your child to school unless they have an exemption. Let's hear a bit more from the Premier on this.
Kids go to school. We've done everything that we can to ensure that our school environment is safe. We're certainly not going to be fining parents. I mean, that's ridiculous.
So as you just heard there, they won't be going ahead and fining parents because of those concerns and keeping people home if their choice is to homeschool, but they'll be working on a case-by-case basis. Tom?
All right, we'll see how all of that plays out. Not long to go now. Kenny, thank you.